Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that have shaped their lives, inviting us all to reflect and grow together. Today, we're joined by Dr. Joseph Drolshagen, a passionate business coach and mindset expert who has dedicated over 3 decades to helping individuals and organizations unlock their potential. With a unique blend of corporate experience and a doctorate in psychology, Joseph's approach is all about aligning our subconscious with our goals for rapid growth. Let's dive into Joseph's journey and discover the wisdom that has inspired him along the way. Your favorite quote, your name and your favorite quote.
Yeah, my name is Dr.
Did he-
Joseph Drolshagen. I own IFGT Life Coaching and coaching and consulting, and I really specialize in helping business owners, corporate sales professionals to really elevate into experiencing rapid revenue growth. But really, what I do it's personal transformation. So you could take it to any person in any area of life that they just don't feel like where they're getting a lot out of what they're trying to achieve. They're not getting a lot of headway, I guess, into what they're trying to achieve, and utilizing these same principles of the method I developed, which is the SMT method, to open that doorway up to achieving greater results with less effort.
The SMT method. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. What's the SMT method?
It stands for subconscious mindset training. And it's all about, we have a conscious mind and we know what we want, but then we have a subconscious part of our mind. And this is what all my years of study are and such, is that subconscious factor that hosts all of our programming, our past experiences, our patterns, paradigm, belief systems. Is all that's in that network of that subconscious. But the subconscious is what triggers our brain waves to the actions we take or don't take. And that's why so many people, they know in their conscious mind what they want, but they just can't get themselves to take those actions. It's because of that subconscious programming that holds them limited.
Yeah. Okay. Earlier on, I was asking you to tell us your favorite quote.
My favorite quote.
Yeah. And
Oh my God, I'm sorry, I totally missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
God, there's so many of them. My favorite quote, I never say it the way she does, but Marianne Williamson says this, it's our fear isn't that we're powerless. That's not our real fear. Our real fear is how powerful we really are. And then she goes on to expand that even more, but I love that quote because it's so true. We're not afraid that we're unable to do what we want to achieve. Our fear is that we're so powerful, but we don't live through that power because of that subconscious conditioning.
Yeah. On the form you feed, you said everything always works out.
Say that one more time. Everything always
works out. Everything always works out. That was what you feel when you answer the question. Everything always works out all the time.
Oh, it works out. Yeah. Everything always does, right? But here's the difference. Everything always works out all the time, but to the level that it works out, when we're living through that subconscious programming and all that stuff, we settle for minute scraps of what we really desire to experience. So, something just working out is totally different than achieving what we're set out to achieve at the level where we desire to achieve it at. Those are two different things.
Yeah. I feel like you should add a disclaimer to that quote, because some persons will say, "Oh, everything always works out," or whether I do what I do or I don't do what I do, it will just work out the way it's supposed to work out for me. So I don't even need to stress myself.
It does, but honestly, like a lot of times we see people that set out to do a lot of different things and never achieve it. What happens, instead of achieving what we want to achieve in this lifetime, we end up settling for whatever works out. Right? It's not truly living to the fullness of our life. It's just settling for what happens and what comes along.
Yeah, that's the disclaimer I feel like it should be attached to the quotes, because most persons will misinterpret the quote to say, "Oh, I don't have to stress myself. I don't have to apply for that position or that thing. Everything always works out. It will work out at the end."
But honestly, somebody who's there's awareness, right? And knowledge is awareness. Ignorance just is lack of knowledge. So there's awareness, and as we become aware, our life is so much harder than when we're living through that programming the way it exists right now, because that's where fear, anxiety, worry, all of those struggle, all of those things are in that. So yeah, things will work out like that, but how fulfilling is that life?
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
It's actually easier. We live easier by achieving the things we truly want to achieve. And all we have to do to arrive there is to identify that conditioning causing limitations and shifting it. And that's what the whole SMT method is all about.
well, for me, earlier on, not this podcast, but, we did have a conversation about it. So I've just kind of like talk the pointers so that those that are listening to this episode for the first time, they know what we were talking about. One of the questions I asked earlier on in a different episode was, the problem with the subconscious is that we're not aware of the subconscious. Yet the subconscious controls us, right? These are things, these are belief systems, these are mindsets, these are all these things that you cannot articulate exactly and say, oh, this is what I feel, this is what I want to do. Like, it's just there. It's what makes you angry. It's what makes you happy to certain things. It's what makes you say, oh, that stuff is nice. Oh, that stuff is terrible. It's all subconscious. And most of the time, the subconscious is working against us. And we are not aware. And we cannot deal with an issue that we don't even know is a problem in the first place.
Absolutely, you're correct with that. 98% of the outcomes of how we live on the outside are coming from that subconscious. So, we can blame situations, circumstances, state of the economy, all kinds of stuff, but that we're just victims of those things because those things don't really control anything. But that subconscious conditioning, and you're right, we go through life. How many people do we know that go to the same job week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade? They can't stand what they're doing, but they're just in that comfort zone of it, and they just keep repeating those same patterns over and over and over. It's not bringing them any change to their life, but they can just continue there because they're comfortable in that comfort zone. We can be very miserable in our comfort zone, but we know that misery. And so sometimes we get stuck to it. And that's another quote, is good is the enemy of best. If we could really break through that, if we could really get to that other side, not only is it impactful for our lives and how we live every day, but it has that ripple effect into other people's lives as well. And that's why I'm so excited about what I do, because each person that I help break through those barriers to shift that subconscious conditioning, which we have to be aware of it before we can do anything about it. So as we get the awareness and then we start bringing the change, all of a sudden they start having breakthrough after breakthrough in their life. And then their family and their community and their church and, other people start picking up on that as well. So it's not just for the person doing it. It's for their children. It's for their families. It's breaking, in my life personally, I grew up in a very low-income family in Detroit, Michigan, and I watched my parents struggle my whole life, and I carried those same programming into my adult life. Since that time, and this desire I have inside of me to break that pattern, nobody else in my generations to follow will have to follow that patterning because we've broken that.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's how do I explain it? There's this what's the name of this gas that is odorless, tasteless, and but it's poisonous, right? And if the gas is in this room, you're not going to know because you cannot smell it, you cannot taste it, but it's slowly killing someone, right? And for me, that's the way I see the subconscious. I'm not too sure of what the name of the gas is, but I don't want to mention the name of the gas that I'm not sure of. But there's a particular gas like that, right? And people will just be inhaling it. It's slowly killing them, slowly damaging them. And they're not even aware. They don't even know that something like that is happening. And that's why I see a terrible subconscious.
Very great analogy. And I know over here we have carbon monoxide, which now we have sensors to pick it up. But yeah, very, very good analogy of that. And we just keep breathing it in and we don't know what's happening. It's the same thing when we're living by that conditioning. When we don't ever question that, we don't ever look at that. And there's nothing in our life really outside of the things of me and people like me, what we do, to even bring that up for people. Because what we're taught is that it's the state of the economy causing you limitation. It's where you grew up. It's what's in your bank account. It's blah, 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 blah. And it's everything none of those things, really.
It's everything
but programming that's running the show for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Earlier you mentioned that over there, you people have sensors, right? So I guess in a situation where we cannot ordinarily detect the subconscious, what would be in this context, sensors will be the framework, will be the approach towards saying, okay, this is the way you test for to know if there's carbon monoxide in this room, to know if you so have something that's killing you and see those things, which ordinarily you will not be able to see, but kind of like to self-examine and say, oh, this stuff has been limiting me. I need to deal with it.
Yeah. And here's the same thing with the carbon dioxide detector and things like that. We have a built-in monitor for that. If we want something and we're not achieving it, and we're tired of settling for mediocrity, we're tired of settling for whatever comes along, then there's programming in there. If we're really driven by it and stuff like that, and we're not achieving that level, there's something happening in the programming to hold us limited. And all we got to do is go in and identify and shift that, and all of a sudden it starts opening up the doorway. But yeah, we have an internal barometer for that.
Wow. And recently I was speaking with a guest, and I was like, oftentimes, certain experience, people learn the wrong lesson, right? And sometimes people are like, oh, this thing is not working, and they're examining stuff, they are reflecting, they are trying to look at, okay, what's going on, what's limiting me. And yet, even though they are examining the things, they still go on and pick up the wrong lesson and the wrong thing that is not even the problem, right? We could say, oh, why is everybody just falling down and coughing in the room? And after examining and doing everything, I realized that somebody just comes up and say, well, it's because the room is hot. What does the room is hot has nothing to do with the carbon monoxide poisoning. But yeah, you have somebody say the room is hot, let's reduce the temperature. And that has nothing to do with the problem we're facing. So in same reason, people pick up the wrong thing that is affecting them in terms of subconscious. They examine, but they are finding the wrong diagnosis.
Well, and here's the thing: we're conditioned to be like that, right? I mean, when somebody wants to be successful in business, people tell us all the time, go and find someone who is successful, do what they did, and you'll get that success. It never, ever, ever works out. But what it does, though, is it creates that mentality of we have to be something other than who we are in order to achieve that success, which is completely wrong. And that's one of the things why I'm so passionate about the SMT method, is because it's not a one-size-fits-all. What you do to achieve the level of success you want is contingent on you and your desires. It's contingent on you and your programming. Just like mine are going to be completely different than you. And it takes all of that into account. So when you go through the program, it's specific for you. When I go through it, it's specific for me. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's not you trying to be like me or me trying to be like you. It's finding out what works for you and what doesn't, and then laying that pathway. And our programming does not follow that. If you look at from school all the way into adulthood jobs, it's you have to try to be like that person in order to be successful. If you can be that person, but you can never be that person because you're you. I can never be that person because I'm me. So we're following the wrong way of doing it. And then what happens is we just get so fatigued and tired and exhausted with it, we just give up and we settle for mediocrity.
Yeah. You're banging your head against the wall, and after some time you're like, this stuff doesn't work, and you're like, no, I give up.
Yeah. And honestly, I've taken a lot of those programs early on, and I'd go through the whole program and I'd walk away going, man, there must be something the matter with me, because I would never get the results that were promised. And you hear of other people that do it, and I've tried for so long to be like somebody other than who I am to achieve success, and it never worked. And it wasn't until I came upon this and stumbled in some areas and things like that it ended up being what it is now, that I started realizing I can't be somebody else and achieve anything other than upset. But when I become me and I get clear on that, now I can start changing. When I start noticing that programming that tells me that I deserve to be struggling, that I have to struggle in order for this, or I have to, when I started addressing those things, then all of a sudden the results outside of me start changing.
Yeah. Wow. Everything always works out for those who walk. Yeah, the subconscious, and it's...
And a lot of people will talk about like doing the inner work and that they're so afraid of it. But I think a lot of people, it's just because they don't understand it. Every client, I've been doing this for over a decade now. I've taken hundreds of clients through this SMT method, and every one of them, it's not it's not exhaustive efforts and grueling and digging into skeletons out of closets or things like it's exciting. And it's because we identify, we shift, and then all of a sudden it starts opening up the door and we start seeing bigger things happening in our results. And so it's a thing of excitement to go through this. It's not a thing of like drudgery and hard work and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Dr. Joseph, if someone is like listening right now, which they are, for those that are listening right now, what would you say that they can easily, start to see pointers and say, oh yeah, so this is what's happening, because they've been doing it, but they've been finding the wrong stuff, and then they try to adjust, and it doesn't work. It looks as if they're just wasting their time.
Yeah. The first starting point, honestly, is and this is like a requirement for me to work with anybody is the person has to have an open mind. They don't have to know what the conditioning is or how to change it or shift it or open up the doors or any of that stuff or anything, but they have to have an open mind to, like, everything I've tried up until now hasn't worked. Maybe this has something in it that could be useful to me. And then if a person is in that mode, so when I talk to people about an open mind, a beginner mindset, it's not what we know. I come across people all day long that you talk to them and they go, I know. And you can't do anything for that person. They can never gain more knowledge when they're. So what I tell people is look at what can I take from this and add to what I already know. And then from there, that's a door opening. And then from that, I would tell people, just start noticing what you're noticing. Start noticing when you know what you want, why your actions are not aligning with that, why you're not taking the actions that are coming to you to take that would bring that about. And it's because of that programming. That's a really good way, another barometer to look at, is this conditioning going on? And I said that earlier, we look at the things like the state of the economy and things like that, right? But we all know businesses who made their greatest strides down in the down economy. And then we all know companies who have struggled even during boom times.
Yeah.
So it's not the state of the economy. It's not competition. It's not outside things from us. And it really isn't even the way we were brought up and stuff. It's the conditioning in there that we need to identify and shift, and that will change our entire lifetime, but also change the other people around us as well.
Yeah. For me, what I just to say it in a different language, it's the programming, right? We see hackers sometimes. Of course, they're ethical hackers, but you could actually program and reprogram a code, to say, okay, instead of lighting or doing this light this way, I want it to do it this way, this way. And as much as you want to do, right, there's nothing you want to do, even if you beg the device, right? Please be serious.
Yeah.
Please change this thing. The device will still do according to the program. At the end of the day, the only thing you can do to change what the device does is to change the program. Other than that, even if you cry from now till tomorrow and say, please, why are you not serious? Why are you doing this to me? The device at the end of the day will still fall back to programming. So in the same thing, there are programming that affects the way we behave, the actions we take, the things we do, all the things, basically how we operate. And if we don't deal with that program, doesn't matter the economy, the whatever, we will still fall back to the program. And most times the program helps us. Sometimes it helps us. Sometimes it's just our greatest enemy.
Yeah, and we can get stuck in that, and it's clever though, because our programming will never show up direct like that. How it'll show up is like procrastination. Like, oh my God, I got to take care of all these other things, and we just won't take that action.
Yeah.
Or it'll show up as a fear, or it'll show up in a multitude of different ways that hold us from taking that action. And if anybody's ever in that position, they know it. And one of the things I found for me when I was the guinea pig learning all of this stuff, change it, because I set out just trying to change my life was my goal at the time back in my 20s, which is a long time ago. And in that, I couldn't pick out that conditioning for myself. I couldn't identify it because I didn't know, because it felt so normal and natural. And one of the things I will tell people when I'm talking to them is potential clients or anybody looking to do this kind of works in their life is you have to be willing to be a little bit uncomfortable, because in order to get different results, you have to take different actions.
Yeah.
And taking those different actions is where we have to start shifting that programming and stuff. So it can be a little bit uncomfortable at first.
Yeah. Earlier on, you mentioned that one of the prerequisites for people to work with you is to have an open mind. But then, out of a place of empathy, I wouldn't really blame some persons, because, they've gone from coaching to coaching to coaching to coaching. They've tried this program, they've tried this course, they've tried this stuff, and they've all been burnt, right? And so, someone else is coming up and say, it's something is different. This is the new stuff. And they're like, that's exactly what the first 3-5 persons said. You understand? So it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your product, because they've never even tried it. it has to do with they are projecting all the failures, all the bad experience from their previous encounter onto you, and now they're like, nah, this is just another waste
I
of
did that.
time.
I've lived that life. I've invested a lot of time, effort, resources into programs to try to change this stuff within me. And I'd walk away time after time after time going, man, there must be something the matter with me, until I came to a point of going, coaching doesn't work. And that's really when I broke away from that, is when I started learning these pieces of what is now the SMT method. So it was really important to me when I build this, that when I actually come out to help other people with it and such, I do so in a way that that uniqueness, that it's not me trying to make you a mini me, or telling you what 10,000 other people did and you do those same thing and you're going to get the same success, because that's BS. It's just not true. So I work with you based on who you are, what your desires are, and what that programming is for you. And then I work with that person on what that is for them. And each person I work with and such is, and that's why I don't have programs that have, 1,000 people in it and masterminds and things like that. I work one-on-one with my clients so that they get the most out of that time. And it's dedicated to helping them achieve what it is they want to achieve through retraining that subconscious programming.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Dr. Joseph. If someone, for those that are listening right now, and they're like, I want to take the next step, but I'm fed up. I've been suffering, and every time it looks as if everything was just against me. The universe was against me. The job, the economy, and everything. I want to take the next step. I want to change things, right? Where can they learn more and take the next step?
Anybody can reach out to me and schedule a quick call with me, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it ends up being. Now, I like to talk, so it can sometimes go a little, but they can go to coachwithjoey.com and schedule a call with me. And there's no commitment. There's no sales pitch. I don't even talk about programs or anything else. But one of the things I do, and I'm so excited about this, is I have my new book is just released, and it's Reprogramming the Subconscious, or Reprogramming Your Mind.
Do you have the book, physical copy with you there?
You know what? I don't have it. I'll get you an image of it. I'm sorry, because it's just getting published next week.
I wanted to just destroy it.
I know. Oh, God, I wish I had a way to do that right now.
Is it
I will send you
house?
something.
Okay,
but
no problem.
anybody who schedules a call with me is a special gift. I'll give you a free copy of the book.
Okay,
I'll send it to you after we get done with the call.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. I should have that. I'm sorry.
There's nothing like holding the physical copy of the book. I mean, I can put it in post-production, but it's just different. It's different.
I understand.
Yeah,
I should have a copy of it.
Yeah. No problem.
And again, we're just going through the publishing right now with the final proofreading and things like that. So, but I'm excited in order to be able to share it with anybody who sets up a call with me. And then we can talk more about this. In that call, my whole purpose of that is to lean into the person I'm talking to. If I can help you identify one or two of that programming stuff going on, then I can help you with some tools to start shifting that. And you'll see firsthand, without giving me a penny, how to start opening that up in your life.
Wow. So kind of like, how these softwares, they will give you what do you call it now? Let's say in Riverside they have like 2 hours of free recording. So you can use that 2 hours to record. And if you like the software, you work. But if you don't like it, you move on with your life. You have to put your credit card or any of those stuff in order to use the software or stuff like that. So please, if you are listening right now, take opportunity of this. I don't know how long he will be doing this free call. So just leverage it, just go there and really know. And I know that at the end of the 15-20 minutes, you'll be walking out and asking, your eyes will be opened. You start seeing men as men, no longer as trees.
Yeah. And to register, all it is name, email, phone number for reminders. There's no credit card. There's nothing like that, or you don't have to, bank account. None of that. It's just a conversation is all it is.
Yeah. The goal of the call is to help the person. And then if they want more help, they can, of course, work with you. But the goal is not it's not a sales call. It's to help you within that 15 to 20 minutes, as much help as can be gotten. Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph.
Absolutely. This is awesome talking to you. Love talking to you, conversation.
Because the thing is, I know your voice, but I've not really put a face to the voice because the last time we spoke, it was audio only. So I was like, now that we've done video now, so anytime I see your face pop up anywhere, I was like, oh yeah, I spoke to him on my podcast.
Well, now I
Yeah.
got to pop up right with you here.
Yeah. Other than that link you shared, is there any other special call to action, special link you want to share with my audience?
I have a lot of things on YouTube, which I'll give you the links for. My website, there's a lot of free content on there. My whole mission is to help change as many people's lives as I can with my life.
Yeah.
So having these conversations, doing it like what you and I are doing, or the phone calls or whatever, however I can help people, I'm willing to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm glad that, we had this conversation. Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.